Hey everybody, welcome back to Let's Talk. I am your host John, and today here at the channel we're going to be talking about 1976's The Outlaw Josey and its brand new Warner Brothers 4K steelbook that just came out. But like always, I always like to give a quick film review before we get into that 4K Blu-ray review. So if you don't want to have anything for the film spoiled for you and you're just here for that 4K Blu-ray review, you guys can skip ahead to that right now. So back in 1976, one of the kings of the Western, Clint Eastwood, early on in his directing career, only 5 years after he made Play Misty for Me, directed The Outlaw Josey, which I just love saying like that because everyone else says it like that in the movie. And this is one of his best films that he has ever directed in his entire career. It is arguably one of his best westerns of his entire career. It's right up there with the Man from No Name trilogy of movies. I can't quite put it in Unforgiven because that really is Clint Eastwood's magnum opus, the greatest film he's ever directed, and really his whole career was building to Unforgiven. But this film, it's just as heartbreaking as Unforgiven is, really leaning right into the anti-hero that Clint Eastwood was playing throughout his entire career. You know, this isn't a squeaky clean guy, but we can understand where the pain came from for this guy, because right in the beginning of the movie, Red Tails and his group of gangs of piece of shit decide to go into Josey Wales' house and burn it down, kill his wife, kill his son. And I mean, this is a guy who's got nothing left. I mean, it's so heartbreaking to watch him have to bury his family, like how he just falls over crying with the cross. A group of bushwhackers, and right before the opening credits, when they pull up to Josey Wales and there's like, yeah, we're going after Union soldiers too. And he's like, I'm coming with you. And then the opening credits kick in, and the opening credits are just downright awesome. A montage of these guys, you know, just basically doing their thing, doing some bushwhacking. And then it all builds up to post-credits. And, you know, John Vernon's in this movie, who plays the mayor, also in Dirty Harry. He's got one of those iconic voices. You probably recognize him from other movies like Killer Clowns from Outer Space, like later in his career. But in this movie, with that bushy beard, he looks great and he sounds great. He's just got one of those iconic voices. He plays Fletcher, who, you know, another complex character, because he tells all these group of guys, like, all right, it's over. The war's over. You know, everybody else is giving up but us, so we're going to go over here. You're going to put up your right hand, and you're going to swear loyalty to the United States. Seems simple enough. Clint Eastwood's obviously not going to go with them. He's going to stay back, and he just keeps an eye on things from afar. And then what do you know? These guys set him up, kill them all. Josey Wales has to come in, kill as many people as he can, and he gets himself a lot of people. And then he's surprised to find out that, like, Fletcher was the guy who turned them in. He's a traitor himself. But I don't think Fletcher was expecting them to kill all those guys, because he said, you know, those are good men, but he's still, like, you know, not going to go fight on their side. And he's willing to go with Red Tails and basically go hunting for Josey Wales. And that's what this movie is all about, how the outlaw Josey Wales is basically on the run from these guys who just want to kill him, even though they've already ruined his entire life. So he's just on the run, and as the movie's going on, you know, he kind of develops a new makeshift family about people who he ends up caring about as well, which he never thought would ever happen again, because this is a hardened man after what happened to his family. You wouldn't blame him if he never loved again. But we get those little warm moments throughout all of the violence in this movie, those little warm moments where, you know, he's dancing with the one girl, you know, when he's talking with the chief, everything like that. It seems like they have a good relationship. He's a very understanding man. He's not somebody who's gonna, he's going to, you know, kill some people, but he's very thoughtful. He always knows what he's doing. He's always in control, Clint Eastwood. He's just, the problem is he's not going to be a happy guy for the rest of his life. So when you see those little moments of humanity in him, and you got hope, like, for this guy that, yeah, you know, hopefully something good happens to him. And the way the movie actually ends up wrapping up, the way he actually rides off into the sunset, we're led to believe that this makeshift family that he's assembled, they all will live pretty good. He was planning to die numerous times in this movie. He's not afraid of death, but he's also a very smart man. The way he's able to read other people, like the way the chief asks him how are you able to tell who was going to shoot first? And he basically lays it out how he interprets that person. He's always right because he never ends up losing. And then the score for this movie is phenomenal as well. A great Western score, but really the cinematography is something that stands out to this movie. Most of this movie looks like it takes place in that magic hour as the sun is setting, kind of creating a very unique look for this type of Western. While not feeling like the spaghetti Westerns that obviously Clint Eastwood came from Sergio Leone, he does still maintain that, like, dirty, battered look of soldiers that I really appreciate. That's one thing when you go back to like the classic westerns or even movies like Tombstone. You know, you're like, how are these guys always so clean? The West is a dirty, disgusting place. I like that Clint took that from one of his inspirations, Sergio Leone, and made sure that that Western dirty look did carry over to his films, while not maybe having like that sunburnt look to their skin, but still, you know, making sure these guys look dirty. But the production design is all like from Don Siegel, another one of his inspirations, the director of Dirty Harry. You know, Clint Eastwood has said it numerous times. He even puts inspirations, like I think on the Tombstones and Hang 'em High, say Don Siegel and Sergio Leone, his two inspirations. And I think the camera work in this movie and the way it's shot took a lot of inspiration more from Don Siegel than it actually took from Sergio Leone. And I think that marriage helps to create a beautiful film here, one of the greatest westerns of all time. Yeah, it's a revisionist western of the 1970s, but those are the westerns I absolutely love. I'm not somebody who's a huge fan of black and white. I like, not like black and white in colors, but I mean like black and white characters where the bad guy wears the black hat and the good guy wears the white hat. I like how people operate in the gray area. Our villain, like Fletcher, like the way it ends, how he tells him, I tell him that the war is over, and they say, I reckon it is. The way they wrap that up, like, Clint Eastwood understands that this guy, he's a lot more complex than just being a villain, Fletcher. So if you have our antagonist and our protagonist both kind of operate in the gray area, it really comes down to your own personal morals and how you feel about them, and it's going to create, you know, conflict within yourself. And all the best films do that. All the best characters operate in that gray area because most of humanity does. Nobody is a saint, while nobody really is a devil, and you have to really ask those questions. And I really love that a movie like this is asking those questions. And of course, Clint Eastwood's performance and direction is phenomenal. I'm on a real Clint Eastwood kick right now. The Outlaw Josey Wales was something that I really needed to see. I actually watched it 2 out of 3 days. I just had an absolute blast with it. So let's get into this 4K Blu-ray review as well.
I'm looking for Josey Wales.
You a bounty hunter?
Yeah, he's got to do something for a living these days.
Dying ain't much of a living, boy.
Well, here it is, The Outlaw Josey Wales on 4K Blu-ray, and I got the 4K Steelbook, a lot like I said in my Dirty Harry 4K Blu-ray review. These 4K Steelbooks, in my opinion, are much, much, much nicer than the standard editions that came out. The standard editions are just very lazy, in my opinion. Like, the artwork is kind of blending in with each other so that they kind of look uniform, but that doesn't necessarily make sense. All three of them, yes, star Clint Eastwood, but Dirty Harry is a contemporary film directed by Don Siegel, while the other two films are directed by Clint Eastwood. And yeah, I get that they all star him, but it just doesn't make sense to have that uniform artwork because, you know, Western genre, contemporary film, contemporary crime film, doesn't make sense. But these steelbooks, they lean right into what each film is, and they give them their own unique artwork. And I think the Outlaw Josey Wales did a great job on that as well. The only thing you can really complain about is when you come inside, it's a 1-disc set, so my buddies who can't get the new scan on Blu-ray, that does really suck, but all of your extras are going to be on this 4K Blu-ray, and I'm going to be repeating a lot of the stuff I said about Dirty Harry, so I can understand the uniform look because of the way the quality of the discs are. They definitely kind of went through this, and it's almost like telling a story of Clint Eastwood's career throughout the 4K Blu-rays. Now, I haven't gotten the Pale Rider yet. I've only watched Dirty Harry and The Outlaw Josey Wales so far, but both of them, not only do you get 2 brand new extras from the same people, by the way, so they sat down and clearly talked about Dirty Harry, clearly sat down and talked about the Outlaw Josey Wales, and I will guarantee that they have similar extras on Pale Rider. But you get a new looking back about the history of it. It's not very long. And then another one on the cinematography, like I was saying, beautiful cinematography. They talk about the silhouette shots, which are gorgeous. My favorite shot in the movie is a silhouette shot of Clint Eastwood when he like kicks that door in on the trading post and he's standing there with the light behind him. One of my favorite shots in film history. They go over all of that. There's a 30-minute documentary about Clint Eastwood in the West and his westerns, so they really go into like all of his westerns and explore them. Mostly the U.S. westerns, like they touch on the Man with No Name stuff, but they really look at Pale Rider, The Outlaw Josey Wales, and Unforgiven. Really good documentary. You get a making of for this, and another extra as well. So one thing I always complain about as an extras junkie is that we don't get new extras. And, well, we got new extras, and we got some of the best archival extras. Very similar to Dirty Harry. Like, if you could just sit down and watch the extras, and between this and Dirty Harry, and just learn everything you need to know about Clint Eastwood's entire career. And I ate all that up. I mean, I had an absolute blast. I was sitting there with my cup of coffee, just watching all the extras. My wife thought I was crazy, but man, I live for that stuff. That's why I always complain when they don't give us extras or any new extras at that. Like, at least give us the archival stuff so that if we have stuff like this. But man, WB did a phenomenal job on the extras. And then, of course, the audio and visuals, very similar to Dirty Harry. Everything I pretty much said about Dirty Harry's 4K Blu-ray, you can carry over here, except I think this one might have actually been a little bit better, and it also could be just because of the Western genre that it looks a little bit better, and it had been 5 years. But audio-wise, you get a brand new Dolby Atmos track while also having the original theatrical audio, something WB's been doing. I really appreciate that. I chose to watch with the Dolby Atmos track, and it is a phenomenal, phenomenal Dolby Atmos track. I mean, incredible. The gunshots, just like a Dirty Harry, you can hear them traveling over you. The audio is perfect, so it does sound very realistic, very well mixed. Never had to turn the volume up or down. Just a phenomenal, phenomenal Dolby Atmos track, as you would expect it to be from Warner Brothers. So they are just hitting a home run when it comes to the audio. And then the visuals. It's the best I've ever seen this movie look by far. I mean, there's close-ups early in the film, like, you know, when you get on the one chief, and like you could see every little wrinkle under his eye. Everything. It's just clear as day. It looks like it was shot yesterday. There's shots where, you know, you have the orange leaves falling. It's absolutely beautiful. When his house goes on fire in the beginning of the movie, not a beautiful scene, but the fire looks absolutely gorgeous in this. The colors look natural and real, as you would hope it would for a movie that takes place in the Old West. You know, shot in the magic hour. Just a beautiful looking 4K Blu-ray that, I mean, it is 10 out of 10 visuals. I gave 9.5 to Dirty Harry. I give 10 out of 10 to Outlaw Josey Wells. So this one, overall, is a slightly better disc than Dirty Harry, in my opinion, but they're both amazing. I gave Dirty Harry a 10 out of 10. I have to give the Outlaw Josey Wells a 10 out of 10 as well. What a phenomenal 4K Blu-ray. Let's hope that the trifecta is completed with Pale Rider. You guys will have my 4K Blu-ray for that pretty soon. But like I said, I'm really enjoying these 4K Blu-rays, like sitting down, watching the movie, watching the extras. And then I'm kind of going back and watching it again just because, I mean, I love Clint Eastwood. I'm not going to, you know, this is a really fun kind of moment for me, like talking about Clint Eastwood and talking about all these movies. I mean, I understand why people fall in love with the guy and consider him one of your favorite actors ever. I mean, I'm really, really in a Clint Eastwood mood right now, and I'm having an absolute blast with these 4K Blu-rays, and I can highly recommend them to you guys. You know, they're priced pretty fairly. Yes, they don't have that second Blu-ray disc, but the quality is unbelievable, and if you get these 4K Steelbooks, I think you'll be very happy with them as well. But that's going to do it here for me, guys, on another episode of Let's Talk. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode, and if you did, don't forget to like this video, share this video, subscribe to the channel. We also have channel membership, so if you want to become a friend of the channel, a producer for the channel, a channel director, or a channel bankroll member, you know, I got my great subscribers who support this channel, my channel members like John Doe Juggalo, Uncle V, Nicholas Head, Kevin Kruger, Mr. Smelly Potato, and Frank from Frank's Media and Reviews. I want to thank all of you guys so much. Without you guys, none of this would be possible. But anyway, guys, have a great day, and I'll be seeing you around.